Hello, sports lovers. This is My Sports TV. In today's episode of Before the Punch, I shall be previewing the George Ferocious Kambosos bout versus the Devin the Dream Haney, which is happening in Australia. But before I do anything or say any other thing, I doff my hats out to Devin Haney for accepting this fight under extreme conditions and restricted conditions. So now, Devin Haney, this is the time to shine. This is the time to shine. Now to George Kambosos, he has been on the road for so many years, for over 5 years, fighting people in their backyard, and he finally became undisputed in quotes when he faced Teofimo Lopez, and he is now also facing Devin Haney, who has a part of the WBC belt. So this fight is going to be a grudge match. After this fight, we will know who the undisputed lightweight champion of the world is. So I wish both men well. They were least favorites, but when you put in the work and keep grinding, you would get to the top. Ferocious wasn't seen as one of the favorites, but he took his time when he fought Mickey Bay in a close decision, I think split decision, then went ahead and fought Lee Selby in another, I think that was on the undercard of Derek Chisoro versus Alexander Usyk. Yes, that was on the undercard of that fight, and he also got the split decision there. Then he became the mandatory for the IBF belt and beat Teofimo Lopez at the Madison Square Garden, and he became undisputed but disputed in the eyes of many boxing lovers. But Devin the Dream Haney, couple of fights he has faced former champion from Colombia, Linares. Then he fought Jojo Diaz. So his fights, his resume is not as thick as Ferocious Kambosos, but he has worked his way to the top, and he won the WBC belt via mail, which a lot don't. That's why he is not getting the needed respect he needs to get in the sporting or boxing fraternity. But when Lomachenko turned down the fight because his country is at war with Russia, Devin Haney left Matchroom, signed with Bob Aram in order to get this fight on ESPN, and that is, he is taking a pay cut in order to face Ferocious Kambosos. He is also, even if he wins, he also has to rematch Kambosos in Australia, and that is how tight the contract was and how unfavorable the contract was. But this young man, I think he's 23 years, went ahead, signed it, and he wants to fight. Let me talk about the fighting styles of both boxers. Before I do that, let's look at the amateur pedigree of both boxers. George Kambosos first 12 amateur fights. He won 6 and lost 6. Whilst Devin the Dream Haney fought 27 and I think lost 3. Lost 6 too. I think one of the notable opponents he faced was Ryan Kane Garcia, who is also in the lightweight division, who recently totally dominated Ghana's Emmanuel the Game Boy Tego. So this fight, George Kambosos is your pure boxer. Devin the Haney is your pure boxer. He is the one with the much better skills. He is very good with his jab, his foot movement, and his ring IQ is very good. The only deficiency or the level at which Devin Haney is that he hasn't faced a tough opponent, someone who would keep coming at him, someone who is relentless, someone who has a game plan and will stick to it, someone who is not a blown up lightweight, or is not in his prime. This is he is the first time facing a man in his prime. Ferocious Kambosos, 28 years. He is in his prime. He is undefeated. He has never tasted defeat. So this is a very, very, very difficult fight for Devin the Dream Haney. He has to overcome a lot of obstacles, especially the Australian crowd. And this fight is happening at a rugby stadium. So, and there's uh, and the whole state would be behind Ferocious Kambosos. So Devin the Dream Haney has a lot against him. His father has not been allowed in Australia because he had a drug related issue over 20 years ago. So Devin the Dream Haney has to be mentally tough. He needs mental fortitude in order to overcome George Kambosos, because George Kambosos is a man who has traveled all the world whilst facing his opponents, facing adversity. Then he also went ahead and won close fights, especially with Mickey Bay and Lee Selby. They are fighting which any round could go to anyone. And even the Teofimo Lopez fight was a close fight. So he has always gotten the decision in the close fight. Why does he get the decision? Because of that over right hand he throws. It often lands cleanly, and Devin the Dream Haney has shown that when you stay in the pockets, you can hit him just like Linares did. Jojo Diaz also was successful in pieces of the fight, but Linares was past his prime, and Devin and Jojo Diaz is not a lightweight. So now he is facing a lightweight, but this lightweight is very, very determined. He is mentally tough. Let's remember that he was the chief sparring partner of Manny Pacquiao, so he has been around greatness, just like Devin Haney has been in the Floyd Mayweather gym, and Zab Judah is his godfather, so he has also been around greatness for a very long time. And Zab Judah is the last undisputed welterweight champion of the world. So now these men are going to go at each other, and I think Kambosos also tend to struggle with pure boxers, because he struggled with Mickey Bay and he struggled with Lee Selby. Lee Selby later started standing in the fight with Kambosos. That was when Kambosos started having a lot of success. But Kambosos, he is relentless. He is relentless. His check hook, he is always well conditioned. He is mentally tough, and he lets his hands go, especially in the pockets. He would let his hand go. And Devin Haney must learn to fight on the back foot, not just jab and move to the right. He must always straight line. He must move to the side and side, jab to the body, jab to the head, and move side and side. But can he do that for 12 rounds? I don't know. Devin the Dream Haney also slows down at the end of fights, and he gets caught often. He starts the round and the fights well, and later he is caught often at the latter stages of the fight. And George Kambosos, you can trust me that he has a very, very, very good timing, and he is a good judge of distance, just like Devin the Dream Haney. So it's going to be a chess match, but I think it's going to be a very tough one for both men. They would all have to go through the mill. And since Devin the Dream Haney has not been there before, you are not sure how he will react when that time comes. So let's see how it all goes. And we wish both men the best, but who am I picking to win, and how am I picking the person to win? I am picking George Kambosos to win by split decision, because Devin the Dream Haney will start fading at the latter stages of the fight. And Devin and George Kambosos would come in, and the crowd would be behind him. Though they are neutral judges, the crowd will be behind him. So I'm picking a 12-round split decision win for George Kambosos in Australia. This is my pick for this fight. Stay positive. Keep supporting Mesport TV. Stay positive. Au revoir. Remember, there's no limit to greatness.